Hello and welcome back to the second part of the Junk Mail Envelope series. This is Amethyst from Amethyst Creations, and I hope you enjoy the video. Then we just cover the whole back piece. I'm debating. As you can tell. Because I can't do a straight edge, like take a X-Acto knife to it because I have this lace sticking out right at the edge. And that's going to chop it right off. And that would be very sad. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to score it. Don't worry, I blew out the flame already, so by putting paper next to it, nothing's going to catch on fire. But I'm just going to shove that a little bit more because I don't want wax on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and score this. Where that line is. And I'm going to cut right above it. Like, just barely above it. I'm actually going to straight up just move this now. Because it's not that hot. It has cooled down sufficiently for me to be able to move it. I'm a very messy worker. Like, when I start going, it gets messy on my desk. And then I clean it up, and then it gets messy again. Life of an artist. Alrighty, where's my fold? Maybe right above that fold. There we go. I think what I'm planning to do for this one I might kind of just leave it because I really like how it looks. Yeah. Sometimes I'll just lay layer after layer on top of things, and sometimes I won't. Like, I'll just leave it where it, like in this case, has three elements. You have the background, this doily, and a piece of lace. And it just leaves kind of more of a cleaner impression. And because there's so many little holes from the doily and the swirl marks, I don't know, I kind of like that. It doesn't need a crazy amount going on. So I'm going to do this twofold. What I'm going to do is with this base paint, glue, I'm going to just go around the bigger areas, fill it in a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a glue stick to the smaller areas because it's just so fine. It would take forever for me to go over it. And then I realized that I probably should put something down behind it. Oh well. Again, that's what wipes are for. Just wipe this glue off. So you may be wondering, this is Uhu Stick. I think it's made in Germany. It's surprisingly expensive here where I live, but it works out really good. So I hunted down an art place that had it. Oh, I put too much glue. It's okay. It's okay. I will work with it. It's kind of off screen. I apologize. That's because of all this glue. Kind of have to be a little bit off screen so I don't glue something I'm not supposed to glue. So that will happen. Just going over it a little bit, getting it all down. Making sure to get a lot of these little cutouts laying down. There we go. And when it comes to getting along the edges of the lacy cutout, if you don't get all of it, it's totally fine. You can just go ahead and come back again with some little, like I had this little bottle with a tiny tip. I'll leave the link. I think I got this from Amazon. It wasn't that expensive. And you don't even really need it. Either if you don't want to, you can try using an end of a Q-tip or not a safety pin, a paper clip, and put a little bit of glue and just like kind of rub it on the edge to get in there if you want. I just find using the bottle a lot easier. Okay. Let's wipe this off now. I've seen people use a catalog book as glue pages to put underneath if you want. I have a glue book, like a catalog I use sometimes. I just forget to use it. I'm like, let's be honest, yeah. Sometimes I'm doing like concentrating on creating something and then I forget that I have things to put underneath it. Just gonna go ahead and distress this a little while that's drying, then add a little bit of that blue that I put on the other side earlier. If you want to know, this one is peacock feathers. I'm not sure if I said that earlier, but here we go. A little bit of color to this ribbon. There we go. And then we match up where this ribbon is with this ribbon. And that's the line that we're going to glue. Again, with a thin line of 3-in-1, or whatever glue that you decide you want to use. You know, I know some people like to sew in order to reinforce layers of paper together. You can totally do that. I don't have a sewing machine dedicated to that to try out with just with junk journaling. I might later, but let me know if you sew doilies down, because I know it's like I don't know how that would work with things that have this delicate kind of edge to sew with it, because I'm afraid that will like tear the paper. But if it works for you, please let me know in the comments. That sounds cool. There we go. So there we go with that. So this is the outside. I'm gonna let it dry, but then we'll go ahead and work on the inside later. But first, let's give that a second. And now we're gonna work on the inside. And I showed you guys earlier what my inspiration is. Let me get the piece of envelope. Alright, here it is. I forgot where I put it. It slipped off the pile that I had, like the envelopes. It slipped off to the side and it's hiding. So, here we go. Now we can start working on this. For this piece, I'm not going to go too thick with it because I want it to be able to fold. So, instead of covering the whole thing with paper, and it's not too thin. Like, they made this pretty thick kind of paper, pretty sturdy. I'm gonna just layer on different sheets of paper, as well as doing stamping and things like that in order to cover up the plain spots or the written spots, that kind of thing. There we go. So this piece was off of another sheet that came with this, and it just had the gold, like a darker gold foil to it. So I was like, I'll just use that. There we go. That works. We're gonna go with that. Alrighty. This one I am going to use double-sided sticky tape. And here we go. And this came from this pile. And I used it also for the cards before, this deco paper. I'll leave a link to the description below if you're interested in getting the same theme. Like, that packet of paper has so many cute little butterfly float-like pieces in it. Just love it. Love it. Big X. Get off my finger. Use that. Oh, sit down. Ooh. Yeah, that's not straight on there. Whatever. It's fine. It's part of the creative process. I have astigmatism, so sometimes things aren't perfectly straight, but I don't really care. It's fine. I'm gonna add more words. I'm gonna add words. And because this is kind of shiny, I'm gonna go ahead and use the VersaFine pigmented ink. Because I have a feeling that other inks won't stick very well. There we go. And I'm kind of just gently brushing it because I don't want it to be a solid straight line. Kind of want it to fade out a little. There we go. That looks better. Okay. Just for the heck of it, gotta go sideways. Ha! Much better! I like that so much better. Added a little bit more detail. Alright. I'm gonna let that dry a little. Open that up. And I think we're gonna go ahead and just decorate the outside while this part is drying. Just gonna wipe off any extra ink that might be laying around. So for this side, which is part of the inner flap, I think I'm going to go like this. Because they're kind of going with a layered look, I'm wondering if I should stay with that and make square pieces of paper and kind of just layer them onto each other. I like that. So, to make sure that I have as close to right angles as possible, I'm just folding along where the pages meet. Just go like that. Alright. And figuring out where I want to end it. Okay, we finally use this. Yes. Alrighty. Let's figure out where I want that to be. I'll just trim off this piece once it's glued down. Add a little bit of glue. That's wobbly line. Glue. The best that I can. Then find where those edges are and just gently. Oh, I went too far. Gently go the opposite direction. Because I messed up and went too wide. Of course I did. Ah. Oh well. Now you get to see how I fixed the problem. Because this can happen sometimes where you place it down and it's not exactly where you want it to be. And it's double-sided sticky tape, so there's no way to actually fix where you placed it. It is permanently stuck there, unless you want to rip the page. Fun times. Alright. In that case, we are going to do part of a butterfly motif. There you go. Cover the edge. And we're gonna cut it off, all the extra pieces. And now we got to add on a little bit more flourish. Let's try. I got these lovely stamps from Goodwill a while back. And I absolutely love them. They're so awesome. So if I find something similar, I'll link it in the description. I don't know where they got these from. Yeah. I think these are Stampin' Up. I guess that's the company. And let's see. I think I'm really liking this one, so we're gonna use this one. Because we have blue, I'm gonna add a little bit of blue to the ends here. Then darker darker brown for the rest of this. I really like layering on ink because it's fun. There we go. I am not done. There will be more flowers. And a little bit of blue. A bit of brown. There we go. I want to add more. Should be more. Alright. I think I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it in a light green. This one's Bundled Sage. There we go. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's not sticking very well because of the laminated paper. So I'm gonna smudge that off. Instead, will this stay? No, it didn't stay. Darn it. No. In that case, let's see if it'll stay with a little bit of black ink. I'm gonna let that dry and see if anything happens. If it stays, great, I can use it on the other side. If not, then it's fine. I'll make it work. Oh, yep, see, it's smudged even with the other black ink. That's okay. In this case, hi, I am back again. I'm pretty sure you guys noticed a slight change in angle of the camera and everything. I just had a phone call that I had to take, and then a whole bunch of things happened in a row. Family things. So I had to deal with that. So pretty sure people out there can understand when family emergencies happen. But I am back, and we are going back to this envelope thingy. Portfolio. Trifold. And earlier, when I had flipped it over, I did notice that there was some smudging with the stamp. So what I did is I intentionally took a small piece of, paper towel, and I intentionally smudged it in the direction of the writing, just so that it had like that directional smear. Because if it's not going to set into the paper within the first couple minutes, it's not really going to at all. And even a couple minutes is actually kind of being generous. It doesn't, you can usually tell whether it's going to stick or not. But with that being said, since this paper isn't wanting to stick so well, I'm going to go ahead and just keep on layering strips of paper on top of it. So I had an idea. What we're going to do is going to take this. Okay, So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is stamp with the same stamp that I used for this font onto pieces of paper. And what I'm going to do is shred the paper and layer it onto the piece so it has this interesting, I guess, 3D effect. I'm not exactly sure if you would call it 3D, but I'm going to call it 3D. Yeah, I'm going to use this too. And I'm going to go ahead and use the same style of ink, the VersaPad. VersaFine. Yeah, VersaFine pigment ink. Yeah, that's good. Just do the whole block. I'm not doing this perfectly. I'm just getting them on here. Just so we have the words on here when I tear off the pages into little strips. And this is just paper that I had printed. I think this is linen paper that I printed with Tim Holtz peacock feathers dye, as well as tea and coffee. But it was a paper that's already a slate gray color, so it didn't affect the color too much, but it did add like added tones of blue and brown and everything. So if you want to try to replicate that, that's what I did. Wondering if we could just extend it. Let's have fun. Let's extend the whole thing. Oh yeah. Okay. I think I'm gonna do this. So I'm intentionally gonna make these smears, but I'm gonna make the smears like all over because I'm really liking that look. So that's what I'm gonna do. And while that is drying, I'm just going to strip the paper even more. I am not doing this by any measurement whatsoever. I'm just doing like a little bit wider, a little bit narrow strips. It's really just having fun with this at the moment. This one too. I think I'm gonna go with the writing this time. So just a piece of paper towel. I'm just going to blur wherever the ink went. Yeah. I mentioned this before on the last video about where to smudge this. You don't really want to go smudge it this way because then you just end up with the blurring going over the blank spaces in between the lines. And it just makes it really, like, I don't know. It just makes it not look intentional. For whatever reason, this side turned out more legible than this side. I don't know. Maybe it's the finish is slightly different. This is the fun part about doing junk journaling, is when you just experiment, you end up with, you know, interesting outcomes that you were not expecting. And I get a lot of that. And I enjoy it, you know? Keeps you on your toes. So what I'm going to do is edge this piece of paper with some black soot. So for this collaging effect, I'm going to actually add different colors for the antiquing. Let's see, we'll add a little bit of blue. Not going to put a lot on this one. And I'm not going to care too much about the direction of the words, because this one is... So this side is right side up, this one would actually be upside down, and then this one would be also upside down, because it's folded like this. So, it's all sorts of interesting. So if I were to take in this way would be up. This way would be up, but this way, this one would be upside down, unless I flip it. So, if that bothers you, then the first two panels down here are the right way, but this one is going to be upside down. But it doesn't bother me, so I'm just going to intentionally turn the words either which way, and it's, you know, it's scribble cursive in French. I don't speak French, so I'm not going to understand it. And I'm pretty sure a majority of people are not going to really be able to read this anyways, so it doesn't matter. I don't know about you guys, but I always get random songs stuck in my head. Always random songs. And right now it is what is it called? What's the name called? I just had it on the tip of my tongue and now I forgot what it's called. It's like, Johnny, won't you blow your horn? something. It's like... So if you guys know what song that is, please let me know in the comments, because I don't remember. And it's good. I'll probably end up Googling it later, but if you guys know, please let me know. But do you guys have any like songs that get stuck in your head randomly? I'm the kind of person where I actually have to sing the whole song. Otherwise it will never leave my head, and then I'm just sitting humming the song for days. It doesn't even matter anymore, kind of thing. I'll start singing it randomly in like the grocery store or something. Okay, I think that's good enough. I don't want to go too crazy on it, especially where the seams are, because when you add more paper on top, it just makes it a little bit harder to fold. Primarily on the inside, but it does happen if the paper is too thick on the seams. It actually makes it really hard to fold. So, just a little tip. Not to go too much layers on the edges. That is it. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and add some aging. So what I'm doing for these is I'm intentionally only coloring partial of the sides, not all the way around. It kind of adds a little bit more depth, blah, 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 interest to the pieces. And I'll do this a lot. I'll edge with different colors, or, you know, or more on one side than the other. The general rule of thumb that I've noticed is that there's no such thing as too little, really, but there is such thing as too much. It depends on what you're trying to go with. If you're trying to make a piece where it pops really well, then it is easy to kind of overdo it a little, and then everything becomes the similar kind of color scheme. I'm trying to explain that. Like, if you have brown paper that you've, like, a piece of paper that you coffee dyed or tea dyed, and then you go over the edge with, like, vintage photo, and then with antique linen, and then you just keep going with a lot of brown colors, and then you piece together brown colors upon brown colors. Unless there's a lot of texture difference, it's kind of hard to differentiate the pieces from each other. So not only is it important for the pages to be different colors, but also the edging and the antiquing that you do for the pages themselves. Like, if you can, get different colors. If not, that's totally fine. I personally like ripping pages where the white part of the page shows, just to add a different color, a different look and feel. And it's totally fine. Like this one, I'll just go ahead and darken it a little bit more on just one edge, just to add more interest. And then maybe add a little bit of blue, just to highlight the words a little. I'm going to move this a little bit because this double-sided sticky tape is really liking my glass tabletop. actually kind of curious if anybody out there has a preference on a double-sided sticky tape brand. If you do, please let me know. As of right now, I don't have one. I just kind of go to the store and get double-sided sticky tape wherever. And I'm always looking out for new products that are really good for junk journaling, because as you guys know, we don't glue just one kind of thing. It's lace, it's everything known to man. So good to know. What you guys think? The only reason why I'm going through the effort on this pad is because I don't want the envelope to get stuck. Keep on calling it envelope, the trifold piece. The inside, the innards, whatever you want to call it. Ooh. Well, that works. This reminds me when you get like a product and it has that barcode sticker or whatever on it, and it's a pain in the butt to get off the labels. And you just remove the label and it still has an adhesive side, and you just take the label and you're like just putting the sticky side on the leftover residue and just remove it that way. I know there's a product called like Goo Off or something, but I haven't personally tried it. You know, I might try it. Just to try it. That's the side. And firmly stick it down. I just wanted to cover up that smudge. Just you know what? I think I might embrace the mistake a little. Kind of make it look like it's a shadow. Yeah, let's do it that way. Oh, wait. There's no mistakes, only happy accidents. Bob Ross. And you know what? It's so true. It is so true. There's been so many times where I've created something and it was a complete accident. It's like, oh, that turned out awesome, and there we go. You just run with it. A lot of our like in science, a lot of the things that are created, like penicillin and stuff like that, those were accidents. I believe penicillin was created because one of the petri dishes that was inoculating different kinds of, I think bacteria. I can't remember if it was bacteria or yeast, because penicillin is from a yeast. So, but yeah, it was. There was petri dishes set out on this table. And the scientists had inoculated a whole bunch of these petri dishes, and unfortunately, some of the petri dishes got contaminated with yeast. And the scientist took a look at it, and he realized that the ones that got contaminated with penicillin, like the yeast that had penicillin in it, didn't have any bacteria growing around it. And they're like, oh, and there you go. That's how penicillin got created. Used in our medical, because it was found out by accident. And my favorite one that's like a little bit more of a, I don't want to say a new thing, but I'm not sure if it's still a product nowadays, actually, to be honest with you. Latisse, the eyelash grower liquid that you used to put on your eye, like your eyelid, and it grows out your eyelashes real good. That was actually medication used for glaucoma. And then they realized their eyelashes grew out. And they're like, oh, we can use this for eyelash stuff. And I guess I wouldn't be like that one so much as an accident, as more of like a different marketing thing. Target market? Yeah, different target market, but I still think it's funny. But there we go with that. I don't know if you guys had any stories of where you did something on accident and find out that, oh, that works, and then you use it in your everyday life kind of thing. If you do, please let me know, because I'm all about the stories. I love hearing about people's stories. It's so much fun. I think life would be very boring if there was no stories. So now we're going to go ahead and decorate the inside of this lovely piece. I'm wondering if we would benefit for just covering the whole thing, because originally I wasn't planning to put anything on the inside because I didn't want to make it too thick, but considering that it's really hard to stamp on this, short of me painting it, which would be even thicker, I'm just going to go ahead and bite the bullet and cover it with a piece of paper. I like that. So we're going to use that. This again is coffee dyed, tea dyed paper on 20-pound office printer paper. You can pretty much get anywhere. Ooh, this is fun. This is fun. Maybe we'll use this instead. There we go. So, this paper came from a animal wildlife book, like the index in the back. I think it's called the index. Whatever. It's the part of, yeah, I think it's index. It's in the back of the book where it tells you where every page, like, which animal, what page, that kind of thing. Or, nah, this is a appendix, I think. Yeah. Whatever. This book was like super old. It was like from 1997 or something like that. And unfortunately got damaged due to like, I think there was flooding in storage or something like that, and the books got damaged when I was moving around when I was young. So I kept the books because I really liked the imagery on the inside, because it had really cool pictures of different animals and stuff like that, but the outside of the book was beyond repair. There's no way to fix it. So I decided to disassemble it and use it for good use. And I have used all the images, not all the images, but I use a lot of the animal images and stuff like that for different parts of junk journals. Things like that. So reuse your old books if you have any. Working on the railroad. I've been working on the railroad. Pass the time away. Ooh, here's another piece that I missed. Okay, where did you go then? Mystery piece. Where shall I put you?